back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys the questions that I was asked when I went to renew my F1 visa, and I'm also going to be telling you guys the documents that were required. So recently I traveled to Mexico to renew my F1 visa, even though I am not from Mexico. So I've done separate videos on why I had to go to Mexico and how my experience was. But in this particular video, I'm going to go straight and tell you guys the questions that I was asked and how I answered. First of all, before I see the first question, I just want to tell you, relax. Relax. I know it's normal for us to be nervous when you are going for your visa interview or you're going to renew your F1 visa. But what I want to tell you, for you who is planning to go renew, is to relax, because this is not your first time going for F1 visa interview, and it's not like this is the first time you want to get the visa. What you're going for is a renewal, so the chances of them denying you is like really low, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't prepare. So I'm just going to start by saying relax, breathe in and calm down. So let's go into the questions that I was asked. So since I went to Mexico to renew and I'm not from Mexico, when I got there, the very first question the visa officer asked me was, are you here on vacation? And I wasn't there on vacation. I actually just went to renew my visa. So I just went straight up. I told her, I was like, no, I'm not here for vacation. I actually just came to renew my F1 visa. Then she asked me, when will you be finishing your PhD? Because I'm currently a PhD student. And I answered, like, it was just a straightforward. I was like, I plan to graduate in so and so year. Then the next question she asked me was, do you like studying in the US? If you watch my other video where I shared my experience of how everything went, when I told you guys how when she asked me this question, I was taken aback a little, because I was like, why is she asking me this question? This can be a very tricky question. But anyways, I didn't know how to like answer her, but immediately I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'm mostly just doing my research. But if you go for your renewal and they ask you, do you enjoy studying in the US? Please don't be like me. Give them a nice answer by saying, yeah, of course I enjoy studying in the US because of this, because of that. I'm doing this research. You know, just say something exciting. Then she asked me, what are you studying in the US? Which is a very straightforward answer. I was like, I'm doing my PhD in chemical engineering at the University of Rochester in Rochester. I think maybe when I answered this question, when she was looking up my details and typing, she then saw that the city where my school is a very cold place. Then she was like, it must be really cold there. I was like, yeah, it's really cold. As a matter of fact, it's currently snowing. Then where I went to renew the visa in Mexico is called Guadalajara. So she asked me, are you enjoying Guadalajara? I was like, yeah, it's a beautiful city, but I haven't really like gone out to tour the city, but from what I can see through my hotel window, it looks really beautiful. And she was like, oh, it's a very beautiful city. You should tour the city before you leave. I was like, oh, okay. And then she asked me, when do you plan to go back to the US? I said, I booked my flight for tomorrow morning, so I'm hoping to leave tomorrow morning. And then she said, can you come back to the embassy today at after 3 p.m. to collect your passport? I was like, yeah, definitely I can come back to collect my passport. And then she asked me, do you have any form of identification that you can use to collect your passport, your stamp passport? I was like, yes, I do. I have my driver's license. She was like, okay, that's good. Come back here after 3 p.m. Have a nice day. I was like, oh, thank you. Have a nice day too. And I left. So guys, you see, it wasn't tense. It was more like we were just chatting. You know, it was even one of my friends that went to renew his own visa before me. He didn't even go to Mexico. He went to Nigeria to renew his own. He also, when I asked him, how was he? What were you asked? He said it was more like chatting, more like a conversation. He was asked about his research and stuff. So it's not as tense as when you go for the main F1 visa. So now I'm going to be telling you guys the documents that were required. So when you apply for your F1 visa renewal, they're going to give you a list of documents that you need to take to the embassy. For me, what I did was, I did not even go with only the documents that were listed. I went with extra. I even went as far as printing my transcript, printing my resume, telling my PhD advisor to write me a letter, telling my graduate coordinator to write me a letter. Like, guys, I always tell people it's better to go with excess than to go with less. You know, you're traveling from one country to another country to go and renew visa, so you cannot afford to get there and realize that there's an important document that you forgot to bring. So me, I went with anything that I could lay my hands on. But the main documents that were required, which were what they asked for when I got there, are what I'm going to be telling you now. The first one is your I-20, of course. This is like the most important document you have as an international student. So The I-20 you should go with should be a current one. That is, if you know you're going to go renew your visa, or you're even going to like travel outside the country, make sure you get a recent I-20 from your international student office. They will sign it, I think, on the second or the third page of your I-20. There's a place that talk about travel, something. So your international student office will sign it and date it, showing that it's a current I-20 and it's also valid for you to travel outside the country. Then secondly, you need a valid passport. Remember, your passport should not be an expired one, or one that is less than 6 months. If you know your passport is about to expire or it is expired, make sure you renew it even before you go for your visa renewal. And also, they didn't ask me for my old passport, but I still went with it. I think it's advisable, if you know you now have 2 passports, that means if you had an old passport where if you have an old passport where your first F1 visa was stamped, but now you renewed your passport, so you have a new passport, it's good to go with that old passport where the old stamp is, just in case. They didn't ask me for it, but I went with it just in case. What they asked for was a valid one. The next document they asked for was DS-160 confirmation page. You know, after filling the DS-160 form, there is always a confirmation. When you submit it, there's a confirmation page that will be shown. So make sure you save that page and print it out. Then the next document they asked me for was my service fee receipt, the service fee that I paid when I started school. They asked for it. So service fee, I think, is a document that you can print anytime, but me, the one I used when I went for my first F1 visa interview, I still have it in my folder, so I just took it. You make sure you keep all these documents. If you no longer have your service fee receipt, you can always go online and print the receipt. Then the last document, they did not ask for it when I did not like ask to see it when I went for the interview, but it's something you will need later, is a form of identification. Now, you cannot use your passport as a form of identification to collect your passport, because obviously you're going to give it to them to stamp the visa. So you need another form of identification. What I used was my driver's license. So whatever valid form of identification that you have, go with it so that you use that to collect your passport after it has been stamped. So these few documents are what they asked me for, but like I said, it's better you go with excess documents than to go with less. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Make sure to like this video, drop any question that you might have in the comment section, and also like this video. And if you've watched up to this point and you've not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button. I have other helpful videos for international students, for current students, for potential students. Please check out the other videos on my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.